Welcome back to Last Stop Sports Talk. Today's Sunday, March 23rd of 2025. And here on episode 73, I'm with Kean Kropp and Carson Kropp. I'm Cody Kropp, and we got another Draft Brothers episode for you. We got the wide receiver, our consensus top 10 coming at you this week. So we've watched all the wide receivers this year that are coming out in the draft, and we've ranked them all up, and we got our consensuses. So we're going to...
Consensi, maybe?
Maybe consensi. We do have our consensi.
Consensuses.
I like consensuses.
All right, I'll bring it back for social media team. We've got our top 10 draft consensuses, and we're going to get right into it. And
before we get into
it,
freedom to say something.
Sure.
Because
freedom granted.
While I'm watching, we BS'd for a long time before this show started, so not like we need any more of this. But this is relevant to what we're talking about today.
Okay.
But I feel like I need to say that this wide receiver class sucks, man. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but like last year was the first year that we ever did these, bringing our rankings together, making videos for the top 10 wide receivers and all the different positions in the draft for the NFL. And
yeah,
this comparing like just to last year, like this draft class I was not impressed with in the wide receiver position.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people that are ranked very highly in my rankings are going to be like, damn, like Carson really loves him. But no, it's just like I would like move him up and I'd be like, well, that guy's not much, but he's not better than him. And they would just keep going up and be like, how'd they get here? Mm-hmm. Like there's just nobody that I can say is better than them.
I know.
Yeah, that is kind of how it feels. There's like a few guys that could be like, oh, these guys are pretty dang good, and then it's like a whole bunch of, they're all kind of, kind of chalk, you know,
like a bunch of solid wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3s in this class. Just wide receiver 1s are tough to come by.
No Malik Neighbors.
There's no Malik Neighbors.
Even no Brian Thomas Jr.
No Marvin Harrison.
Yeah, no
Marvin Harrison. I don't know if you can say there's a Ladd McConkey.
Nah,
I'm kidding. That's a joke.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So kind of a whole bunch of. Our rankings are a little bit whack.
Yeah.
Probably not crazy.
Kind of what we're known for. I like to read the TikTok comments.
Oh my
People
God.
are going crazy about Ashton Genty, man. Mostly
as
at
they should
me.
be.
Mostly at me.
No, really?
I had people on my side. I didn't say anything.
Really?
I didn't say anything. Like I didn't respond to any of the comments because they were just kind of. They
were
hilarious.
Good, yeah.
They were coming after me. I'm like, I'm not gonna bother trying to explain myself, and then people started explaining for me. I'm like, I got an army I built.
You're building an army.
Because this one guy popped out. He's like, you should have, like, you obviously weren't watching that Penn State game if you think that Ashton Genty was terrible. Like, he had 16 missed tackles forced, and I'm like, yeah. And then some guy said, he's like, yeah, but he went 30 carries, 103 yards, and he fumbled twice. I'm like, I didn't say it.
Wow, you're really fortifying.
Wow, yeah.
You know,
dropping him all the way to 2.
I can almost say, if Kean was a general in the Army, you know what he would have in his sleeves?
I have no idea.
I don't know where you're going with this.
Wait, you know what Kean would have? You know what Kean has up his sleeves right now?
No.
His armies.
Oh! What?
That's terrible.
His armies are in his sleeves.
I get that, but how's that? Okay.
Because he has armies defending himself now.
Yeah. What does it have to?
Yeah.
What does it have to do with my appendages?
Your armies, Kean.
My limbs, yeah.
Yes, your armies.
My upper legs.
And then, like, your armies. Like, you have an army to fight for you.
Okay.
In the comment section.
Yeah.
You have armies in the comment section, and they're up your sleeves.
Okay. I think we got there. Yeah, I understand now. But that's still just a terrible joke.
I liked it. What do you mean?
Oh, my Lanta. All right. We want to talk about some wide receivers today? Or what?
Let's do it.
All right, let's get into our draft consensus. Number 10 goes by the name of Jalen Royals from Utah State. He's 6'2", 205. In 2024, he played 7 games due to injury, obviously. He had 81 targets, 55 receptions, 839 receiving yards, 6 receiving touchdowns, 15.3 yards per reception, and 3 drops. Kean had him 14, I had him 13, Carson had him 8. So, Carson, get us started.
Yeah, this guy's a great yards after the catch threat. He shows this with almost 8 yards after the catch per reception. 8 yards, that is.
Yes.
Good ball tracking and adjustment. He's a grab-and-go catcher in the screen game. He really gets into his yards after the catch quickly, comes back to the ball on the deeper routes, and he's versatile. He can play inside or outside. But what really I'm upset about with this guy is he only played 7 games, as Cody said. But he was on track for 100-plus receptions and 1,500-plus receiving yards. Would he have played the full season? physical catcher at the catch point, and I was really shocked when I saw his size at the combine. 6'205". I thought he was way smaller than that watching the film, but he's a pretty big guy.
Yeah. I like this guy, and like you said, whenever about his yak, I think that's a factor of his athleticism, and he seems to plan it well. Like, he knows what he's going to do when he gets the ball, so he can kind of get ahead of it before he even has the ball in his hands. And yeah, I don't really have anything else to add to those pros. I'm on board.
Yeah, that's the main thing. He's a yak receiver, and you would think that I would like him more because that's kind of the receiver that I like. Being the Debo fan, I've kind of matured as a scout this year. I'm like, you know what? Like, these yak guys aren't always good. I was way overdrafting Malachi Corley last year. He could do something this year, no doubt. But so I kind of cooled off this year. But yeah, 6'205" is a good size for him. That's well built, I would say. Contact balance and sturdy strength to run through attempted tackles. If they don't wrap him up, I think he makes quick and effective jump cuts to make defenders whiff after the catch. 1.49 10-yard split really shows up on film that he did at the combine. Now, for the cons, I don't know if you guys have anything else about pros.
No, get into it.
I think he kind of lacks that top-end speed to break a tackle and go to distance or gain separation consistently downfield. I think his speed is pretty good, but I didn't see 4.42 40-yard dash speed in his film. I think that he is also just much more crafty after the catch than he is running his routes. Just kind of some minimal fakes to fool the cornerbacks. I feel like he just kind of relied on his superior athletic ability to get open playing against those Mountain West cornerbacks. I think that he's kind of untested in contested catch situations because he was open so often and they just got him the ball short, get him the ball in space, and he would just do something after the catch. I just think he's going to have to greatly improve in his ability to get open against better cornerbacks in the NFL. I think he just needs to learn some new tricks, stunts, fakes to win with finesse and the quickness that I think he has. I just want to see him stop trying to out-athlete the lesser defenders whenever you're going to have to be going against NFL guys now.
I agree. I think he does have decent downfield speed, but he definitely, it's hard for him to get sudden separation. I completely agree with that. And, yeah, I think he just kind of, as far as route running and all that, I think he's just lacking some explosion and lacking kind of quick feet. He can kind of get a little slow and rounds through cuts a little bit.
I saw rounding cuts.
Yeah, that's all I really have to add.
Yeah, I ranked this guy so high partly because there wasn't anyone that I liked more above him, and I fell in love with the yak, and he has the NFL size, but I just absolutely hate his route running. He doesn't showcase a diverse route tree at all. He's very limited in his route running, and the further downfield he gets, the worse it gets. His short routes are good, but his deep routes are just absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
He lacks suddenness and sharp cuts. His routes look so lazy. And it looks like he's not even trying until after the catch.
Yeah.
Which maybe he can be developed in the NFL, but right now he's got a lot of work to do. He used a lot in the short game, probably because of this reason. And he played the Mountain West lastly, so.
Sure, yeah.
Summary comp?
Yeah.
Receiver that was used a lot in the short game because of his great yak ability, so his full route running ability is an unknown.
Sure.
And I didn't really have any great NFL comps for him. Rashid Rice a little bit, but I'm going to use that later, so I couldn't really use it.
Okay.
Some of his abilities remind me of George Pickens a little bit. I settled on Brandon Ayuk, but Brandon Ayuk is actually kind of a route runner.
Yeah.
His body language just reminded me of Brandon Ayuk, so I don't have anything that I'm in love with here.
Yeah.
He's a tough one to rank
Yeah.
because I feel like with the way that he moves, I think that he can be a good route runner. It's just something that has to be developed, I feel like.
Yeah, I don't know if it was coaching or what, but he just looks so lazy in his routes.
Lazy.
It's like he's just like jogging, and then he catches the ball and he grabs another gear.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, like that's what makes doing these rankings tough in general, because like we're ranking based off of how we like them for their skills that we saw and like their ability. We are not projecting anything.
It's tough.
Like we can't, because say Jalen Royals that needs developed, like we just talked about, goes to the Steelers, known for developing receivers. Like, great. He could end up being the third best receiver out of the draft in production.
Right.
But if he goes to
The Patriots.
or I was going to say like Tennessee.
Yeah. Oh.
Like if he goes to Tennessee, like we don't know what's going to happen. He could just fall off the face of the earth. So we're just ranking based on what we see and not really what we're projecting into the NFL all of the time. We aren't basing all our stuff off that.
His short routes show promise, though.
Yeah.
Like I said, I love him, and he looks like he does in the open field when he's running short routes, but downfield is just, goodness gracious, man. Come on.
Gets sketchy, sloppy.
Yeah.
All right, moving into our number 9 receiver, consensus receiver, we've got Jaden Higgins from Iowa State. He's 6'4", 214. In 2024, he played 13 games. He has 129 targets, 87 receptions, 1,185 receiving yards, 9 receiving touchdowns, 13.6 yards per reception, and 2 drops. Kean had him 3. I had him 9. Carson had him 22. So
This is a good one.
this is a good one. So Kean, let us know.
That's right. I got him 3. I'm the Jaden Higgins guy. He's on my back for this one. I don't even know what to say, man, because Carson got him down at 22.
Freaking.
I'm at 3. Cody's literally the average at 9. So I think that we got it's a solid range that we have here for Jaden Higgins.
We've got a solid cluster, right?
Yeah, and this kind of supports everything that I've heard coming from the rest of the draft community, that just Jaden Higgins, this is how everybody feels about him. Like, you don't know if you think you don't know if he's good. Yeah, love him or hate him. That's really it. And I'm on the side that loves him for sure. Let me just get into it. I think that he has, first of all, he's a good, well-built receiver. Surprising athleticism, I would say, for a receiver his size. He's 6'4", 214 at the 40. At the combine, he ran a 4.47 40-yard dash, 1.53 10-yard split. That's pretty darn good for 6'4", 214. Vertical jump of 39 inches. I like that a lot. 10.8 broad jump, which is also pretty good. He's just a fluent mover on the field that I was really impressed with.
Yeah.
Quick feet to stutter step, chop, hesitate to get the cornerback guessing before turning on the jets to gain separation. I think his speed and choppy steps allow him to be a fast, sharp route runner is what I saw. He moves with the quickness and pace of a 6 foot, 190-pound wide receiver. It's just so impressive to watch for me. He really changed my expectations for tall receivers, probably in a bad way, because then I watched some of the other tall receivers in this class. I'm like, man, this guy can't move at all, slow feet. But on top of that, my last pro for him is that he just has sticky hands to catch most passes thrown his way. It looks weird because he never fully extends his arms. I rarely ever see this guy fully extend his arms. He looks like a tall guy with like T-Rex arms, but also like sticky hands. The ball usually ends up in his hands in those jump ball situations, even if he's not fully extending his arms. Probably a big part because he has such a good vertical jump. But I was just, the main thing that I loved Jaden Higgins so much is that he has movement skills that you do not see out of a wide receiver his size, and route running ability and quick feet that really give me hope for him in the NFL. But obviously, as the 3rd best wide receiver in this class, in my opinion. I know that is very high, but that's how highly I think of Jaden Higgins. And it looks like if he is successful in the NFL, I'll have to get his jersey because I'm the guy with him right now.
Yeah. I'm surprised I don't like this guy more because this guy kind of fits my bill. I like the big-bodied, strong wide receivers that can just kind of dominate based on size most of the time, and that's what this guy is to me. A strong, big-bodied receiver with great ball skills. Like, he's just, along with that athletic ability, he's just got great ball skills and can definitely make the tough and contested catches without much issue at all. But yeah, I do love how this guy runs downfield. One, his ball tracking's great, and it's just, he's such a smooth, fluent runner, smooth, long striding, like, receiver that uses all those legs that he has. And yeah, he had a good college production too in this. All right, Carson, let us know.
First, I will say he is a PFF star. PFF loves him. He only had 2 drops all season, which shows those sticky hands, but I just don't think he has much burst or speed. Even at the size, I want my guys to have some speed to separate from these bigger, more athletic corners in the NFL. He doesn't really offer much after the catch, but he does show some glimpses of making guys miss. Very limited route tree, and I think he's going to have to operate a limited route tree in the NFL as well because of some of his limitations just of speed and acceleration, I guess, suddenness in his routes. And he's another guy that's a 3-speed, but I think he's missing a 3rd gear. It's like he gets there pretty quick, but he just can't pull away from guys, and he has a lot of contested catches because of this.
Completely agree.
He's forced into this, and then Kean kind of mentioned it as well. He is 6'4", but I think he just plays at 5'11". He's never really showing any like go up and get it type plays. He always lets the ball come to him and kind of catches it with his frame a lot. So that concerns me as well. And I just think in the NFL you have to be a route runner and you have to be able to create your own separation to be a lock. And I just think there's too much downside here that he could bust.
Yeah, and I don't disrespect your opinion because you're the wide receiver guy. You had 5 my guys last year, and 4 of them hit, and Malik Washington's probably going to hit this year too because I believe in Malik Washington on the Dolphins. But I said good speed on Jaden Higgins. I meant like good speed for his size. 4.47 is not blowing anybody off the page.
Yeah, I got a 90 athleticism grade of the combine, which is like paired with the size, which is
high.
Great. Yeah.
The only thing I'll add, because I agree with those cons, but so this is going to sound completely weird for me to say, especially after you just said he plays like he's 5'11". I saw that he could play tall, and by playing tall, I mean he doesn't really he stands up a lot, through his cuts, and it kind of slows him down a little bit.
Plays upright.
Plays upright's a better way to say it. Thank you. But yeah, that's my biggest thing for me that I saw too. Not that, but the biggest thing for me is that, he gets himself into a lot of contested catches, is what it feels like. He's big enough and strong enough to make them, but in the NFL, who knows? But that was my biggest thing that I saw with him as far as a con.
Yeah, I got a few cons here too. I agree with Carson that his best work happens before the catch. He's gonna rarely make a defender miss and just
average at best.
Yes, not gonna break tackles or anything either. And I saw the same thing you guys just said. He doesn't aggressively attack the ball in the air, despite him being 6'4", 214. He, as I said, short arm catches, body catches sometimes. He's not always jumping back toward the pass. It looks like he doesn't high point the ball like a wide receiver with his size should, like we expect him to. Yeah. So yes, he plays, I think, smaller, and I don't know. He's a very confusing prospect to watch because there are some plays where it's like, wow, that was a pretty darn good route by him. He's not going to make anybody miss. But then, next time you see, a contested catch where it's like, it looks like he should not have won that, but somehow he comes down with it.
Yep.
Yeah, and this kind of shows in his PFF as well. His contested catch rate's only 58%, which later in this episode we'll see that some of these other guys are up towards 70.
Yeah.
So that's kind of concerning as well. But in his defense, he was in contested catches a lot, as I said, because his separation just always isn't huge. So, all right, I'm good on him.
You got a summary comp? Or no?
Yeah, summary comp. Big receiver that uses length and leverage to win because he's lacking athleticism at times. And my NFL comp, Andre Iosivas.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah,
obviously,
I agree with that.
I think he's going to be better than that, but I think that brand of wide receiver is very similar.
Yeah, style. All right, moving into our number 8 consensus wide receiver, we got Jack Besh. Yes, it is Besh. He goes to TCU, 6'1", 214. In 2024, he played 12 games. He has 91 targets, 62 receptions, 1,034 receiving yards, 9 receiving touchdowns, 16.7 yards per reception, and only 1 drop all year. Keen had him 13, Carson had him 9. I had him 6. Woo. So I'm going to get right into him. I love this guy. This kind of fits the bill of, receivers that I like. Just big, strong, that he can line up in the slot or wide. He can play from anywhere on the field. Great play strength and physicality, especially at the catch point. He's really strong, in my opinion. Great ball skills, good hands, and he really focuses on the catch, and that helps him have good ball tracking down the field. And to me, his play style, he plays, especially in the contested catch game, he plays contested catches like a power forward in basketball that's crashing the boards to go up and get that and high point it. And also after the catch, he is a very physical and tough runner with the ball. But this guy fits my bill of I really enjoy the way that this guy plays.
I like this guy way more than my ranking suggests. Depending on where he goes in the draft, I could move him as high as 5 or 6.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
I'm just scared of how teams are going to use him. Decent yak, not great, but I think it's enough to maybe make a guy miss or break 1 tackle. Strong hands catching receiver, as Cody said. He showed this all year with only 1 drop.
Yeah.
Good at coming back to the ball, and he can play in the slot and out wide. He showed this in his snap counts. He had 119 slot snaps, 319 out wide snaps. And I would really like to see a team utilize him in a way that basically not an outside receiver, because this guy is not an outside receiver. I would like to see him see teams use him as a big slot.
Yeah.
Maybe even a tight end, but he can't block.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to be very creative with that. But he kind of plays the game like a small tight end. And I just think he's very smart with his routes, very intelligent. He knows how to use leverage to get open. And he's just, the biggest thing is just a strong catcher. 65% contested catch rate, which is fairly high, especially only 6'1". So
Yeah. Now, you guys said it all. Just strong. Before,
Physical.
during, after the catch. He wins by being a fighter. This guy takes shots, delivers shots, fights for every yard that he can get. Takes and survives some shots on receptions over the middle, and then he hangs onto the ball too. Can shake off some tackles after the catch. He's going to lower his shoulder to finish plays. You know that this guy is always going to fight for every single yard that he can get. And I love him as a big slot. I think that would be awesome.
Perfect,
A team fit that I heard that like I was in love with actually this morning while I was driving here listening to a podcast. But on the Falcons, to replace Ray McLeod, put him in the slot, because then you got your contested catch guy in Drake London, you got your speed guy in Darnell Mooney, and then get you a yards after the catch strong slot guy in Jack Besh, and I think that he would be awesome on the Falcons. But got something in my eye. Eyelash in my eye. But I'll get into the cons here, because I think that the main con here, which is why I don't have him ranked higher, is that he is not athletically special, I would say. I think he plays angrier and more determined than his opponent, which is how he wins. But I think that his speed, quickness, and acceleration are all kind of nothing to write home about. I just think he's going to struggle to win vertically in the NFL with this, which is why I want to put him in the slot, because I think he'd be great there. He wins 50-50 balls not by his jumping ability, but by out-muscling the defensive backs.
Yeah.
And I think that his route running is pretty decent. I would put it like above average. But as I said, just lacks that speed, quickness, explosiveness. He can create a small pocket of separation that requires an accurate quarterback who trusts him, which is, like I said, I love him in the slot. I just don't think he can win outside vertically.
I agree. I would also fall in love with him even more if he was in the slot. Just that reliable target across the middle to pair up with a tight end, and I think it would be a battle watching this guy go against someone like a Kyle Hamilton, a Fred Warner, those strong, bigger slot corners or box safeties. I think it would be stars.
Yeah.
Stars flying watching that matchup, and
Yeah,
Anything else, Katie?
I completely agree. The only other thing that has me a little bit concerned for really anybody, but for him too, he only had 1 year of big production, like big workload, which could be a plus, could be a minus, depending on how you look at it. But that's all I got to add.
Summary comp?
Yeah.
Strong, sure-handed, tight end-esque receiver that has just enough athleticism to make it work. And I am in love with this comp.
Okay.
Puka Nacua.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yes,
That's perfect.
That's
yeah.
all I can see when I watch this guy. Strong hands, only has about a yard of separation every time, but he's
Just
always
tough.
always
Yeah.
gonna come down with the ball. He's a fighter at the catch point, fighter at the top of the routes, fighter after the catch. And for this reason, I would like him to go to the Rams and replace Cooper Kupp in the slot. But I think having two Puka Nacuas on the same team would kind of be a bad mashup. But I would see he needs a quarterback like Matt Stafford, where you just trust the guy to make the catch, put the ball where only he can get it, and let him go to work.
That's why I said Falcons. Zach Robinson is the OC coming from McVay. Maybe put him in the Vikings. Vikings also. Kevin O'Connell comes from
KOC.
McVay. So
Broncos with Bo Nix.
Yeah, Broncos with Bo Nix. Oh, yeah, they could
That
really
too.
use him. I mean,
Yeah.
they just got Evan Ingram,
They-
but
yeah.
they could still use a third wide receiver, I think, and that
Yeah.
offense would be great. But yes, I love him. I love the Puka Nacua comp.
Yeah, that's perfect. All right, that brings us to our number 7 consensus-ranked wide receiver by the name of Savion Williams out of TCU. He is 6'4".
Two TCU wide receivers.
Dang.
in the top.
TCU
Yeah.
boys, yeah. 6'4", 222. In 2024, he played 12 games. He had 83 targets, 60 receptions, 611 receiving yards, 6 receiving touchdowns, 10.2 yards per reception with 8 drops, and he had 51 rush attempts with 322 rush yards. Keenan and I had him 7, Carson had him 12. Kean, get into it.
Can I start on this one very quickly?
Ooh.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll come back to it afterwards, and I'll just hand it off to you. But I just want to start by saying this guy's an absolute unit.
Yeah.
600-pound squat, 355-pound bench,
That's ridiculous. That's more ridiculous than the squat.
and 350-pound power clean. Absolute animal. All right,
yeah.
Keane, you can
Guy
have
moves
it.
weight.
Zayvon Williams is obviously a my guy for me.
Yeah.
Now I know that I said I kind of matured. I tried to go away from yards after the catch receivers this year, but the thing is, maybe that's just because Savion Williams was one of the first wide receivers I watched, and then there's nobody like Savion Williams. I have never, ever seen, that's right, never, ever
Whoa.
seen an athletic freak like Savion Williams. This guy is built like a brick shithouse. He's
so big.
6'4", 221 pounds. He runs a 4.48 40-yard dash, a 1.52 10-yard split, and this guy moves like he is 6 foot, 190 pounds.
Yeah.
Laterally, this is something that I've never ever seen from a wide receiver who's 6'4", 222 pounds. Like
Pounds!
Sorry, I had to take a breath there. Yeah. But DK Metcalf, he's pretty darn close to this size, like almost exactly like this size. DK Metcalf can't move laterally worth a shit. He's a drag car going down the
Yeah,
field.
you're right.
Savion Williams can juke, cut. Big guys aren't supposed to move like this. He makes it look so fluid and natural. He had 51 carries for 322 rush yards and 6 rush touchdowns this season. Ball carrier vision, plus his cutting ability to hit lanes that open up are great and just so much fun to watch. He's also strong at the catch point. That's about all I can really say that is positive from him from a wide receiver standpoint. We're going to comment on his route running later, I'm sure. But if you throw the ball up to this guy, he's probably going to come down to it just because he is so much of a freak. But I went crazy watching this guy because I'm like watching him and I'm looking at his head, at what he weighed in at and measured in at the combine, and I'm like, there's no way this guy can be 6'4" and move like that. But I was blown away by Savion Williams just as a football player.
Yes.
I'm going to talk about in a little bit how he's not a wide receiver.
No.
He's not. But as a football player, you have to rank him this high because he is a difference maker on the field.
Yes, I could not agree more. I love this dude. Athletic freak, incredible size, an elite combo of size, strength, explosivity, power, just all of it. Just an all-around football player, like you just said. And yeah, I'm the same way. This dude's electric to watch. I could not get enough of him watching this guy. I couldn't stop because I'm like, oh man, what's he gonna do in this highlight? Like, oh, what's he gonna do here? He's gonna do something here, and he does most of the time, and he always makes an exciting play. But yeah, he's a true multi-tool gadget player, just with elite traits. He's a big mismatch for most corners, even though he's not a true receiver, like you just talked about. An incredibly talented runner, and he had great production, like I said in the beginning, as far as stats, great production in both categories, running and receiving. And he had lots of production even on direct snaps. He can take direct snaps and
Wildcat.
Yeah, Wildcat plays. And just all-around football player, like you said. He was also a high school quarterback. So just
it's crazy.
Yeah, just all-around ball player. Just I can't say much more. I mean, you said it all for me.
Yeah, this guy strong. And this shows in his insane, almost 90% contested catch rate. 9 out of 10 times you throw him a contested ball, he's coming down with it. That's insane. That's the highest I've seen.
Stupid.
He's just a man amongst boys out there. And he's super versatile as well. 60 receptions, 51 rushes. He had 70 slot snaps, 217 snaps out wide. He's versatile, lining up as a receiver as well. And he does have some great snap in his routes, like Keen was saying. He's pretty laterally quick. But I could not rank him any higher than 12 because, just as Keen said, he's a football player. He's not a receiver. And I think this is perfect for college, but I don't know how it's going to work in the NFL because the NFL, you don't really see guys like this. You usually have to specialize in one point, at the exception of a couple guys, which is why I love my comps for this guy.
Okay.
Also, he definitely has his flaws as a receiver. He had an insane almost 90% contested catch rate. He also has an insane almost 12% drop rate. So contested catches 9 out of 10 times, but he's going to drop more than 1 out of 10. And he looks kind of clumsy and awkward at times. He's he has all his body and he doesn't really know how to handle it. And he just looks slow and lumbering in some of his routes, which is why he's not a full-time receiver as well.
You can go ahead and state your cons.
Yeah, he's not going to be drafted for his route running. That's not
No.
why you target a guy like this. But it should be mentioned that he is much better with the ball in his hands than without. Here's what I saw. Whenever he's running routes, it looks like he's trying to make the cornerback miss. Like there's Like, it looks like he's playing backyard football. He's
His-
like, I'm going to juke it, juke.
His footwork gets messy.
Yeah, he gets so
Yeah.
messy. There's no real direction or plan. He's just running, and then he comes to the cornerback. He's like, we'll try a spin move here.
Dance a little bit, yeah.
Just like playing Madden.
Yeah,
It's
playing
like,
Madden and hit
it's a
all the
random
buttons, yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to hit them all at the same time.
It just looks like he tries to get open for long enough to get the ball in his hands, and then it's where he gets really creative is after the catch. But he's not a traditional wide receiver. That's a big con for him. And he shouldn't be used like one either. If a team drafts him, they need to be creative with the ways they get him the ball. Wildcat, in the backfield, screens, jet sweeps, etc. However you want to do it. Because it is rare that a 6'4", 220-pound player can move like this.
Yep.
I'd love to see him go to like the 49ers and just ships Debo away. Oh my gosh. Kyle Shanahan with Savion Williams would be amazing. You might make Savion Williams a Hall of Famer if he can stay healthy. But
Good chance.
someplace like that, someplace that needs a yards after the catch guy, just a guy to get the ball in their hands, needs more explosiveness on offense, they need to go get Savion Williams.
To me, instead of, I know you like him, like comparing like the Debo type. To me, he's like more of Cordero Patterson.
Oh yeah,
That's who he more lines up with. A little bit more
size.
Yeah, a little bit more size and a little bit more more of a broad ability. Like Debo's a good receiver, great running back type. Like Cordero Patterson's just more spread in his abilities, in my opinion.
Summary comp.
Oh, wait, I got a little like bottom line thing because like bottom line on this player.
Bottom line.
Okay.
Because I know it's not surprising that I would like this kind of player, so I'm trying to convince the audience that they need to buy in. The teams, any other GMs that might be watching.
Yeah.
But this guy's not a wide receiver, and
No.
I'm okay with that, and you should be too. But this guy,
That's the key and stamp of approval.
Sounds like an infomercial.
And you can too.
but where I'm going with this is that this guy is different. Size, speed, agility, strength is a combo that you will rarely ever see. So I am taking the chance on this guy every single time for every single team because there's nobody in the NFL that is like this. That's what I'm saying. There's nobody in the NFL that is like this. So take him because you're like, oh, we don't have an open wide receiver spot. You know what? It doesn't matter because you're not going to use him like that. You shouldn't be using him like that. Just get the ball in his hands.
Yep.
If you want a weird play out of nowhere that the defense doesn't see coming, throw Savion Williams the ball. Hand it off to him.
Or have him throw the ball.
Or have him throw the ball. Just get this guy and be creative with him.
You want to do the tush push? Get it to this guy.
Oh, jeez, that'd be awesome.
He's big enough to be under center. Like it's.
He's one of those other guys that can move up in my rankings depending on where he goes. But
Oh, definitely.
He can only probably move up to about as high as 8 for me.
Yeah.
Summary comp.
Yeah.
Physical specimen that's best used as a gadget player.
Yep.
And Cody already mentioned it. My overall comp for him is Cordero Patterson.
Yeah, that's a good
But way more athletic. Just imagine if the Steelers had Savion Williams last year instead of Cordero Patterson. in
You're
the way they
forgetting
used
prime
him.
Cordero Patterson, but go on.
Yeah.
That's true.
But still, he's more athletic.
And then my NFL comp is strictly as a receiver is DK Metcalf, just because his domination factor and also some drops. So
True. Yeah.
Woo!
Gotta love it. That brings us into our number 6 consensus rank. That goes by the name of Tez Johnson out of Oregon. He is 5'10", 154 pounds. In 2024, he played 12 games, 101 targets, 82 receptions, 898 receiving yards, 10 receiving touchdowns, 11 yards per reception, and 3 drops. Keen had him 8, I had him 11, Carson had him 6, and if anyone remembers way back, we all saw this coming.
oh yeah,
Even though some people, I'm surprised you don't have him higher.
I know. Yeah,
Yeah.
I actually wanted to have him about as low as 9. But I had to have him here for my pride and the upside. I'm kind of concerned about injuries, but we'll talk about that later.
But
You're already
150
you were
pounds.
too deep in. You
Yeah,
just
I'm way
could-
too deep. Tez Johnson has been my guy for me now for more than a year.
Yeah.
I promised it more than a year ago, and I'm holding that promise. This guy is so quick and shifty. Now, he may only be 154 pounds, but this allows him to be so quick and shifty. It allows him to carry his speed through his turns. He showed during the Senior Bowl he can route run guys. 7.4 yards after the catch per reception. Pretty dang good. He emphasizes getting down or out of bounds to avoid big hits, which I loved. He showed all through his highlights he's either going to step out or just lay down on the ground, Tyler Lockett-esque.
Yes.
Which should allow him to prolong his NFL career or season, depending on how it goes. Smooth, crafty routes. I already said he gets in and out of breaks quickly and smoothly. He played great competition all year, and I write this one down because Penn State guy. he absolutely dog walked Penn State. He put all corners in the blender. We couldn't guard him. I was like, yeah, no wonder he's in my guy since last year. Good on all levels of the field. He can work underneath. Has good deep ball. He has good ball tracking and decent long speed for long balls. He's probably not going to outrun guys, but if he can get them on their heels or toes and get them off balance, he can run by them. He did run a 4.51 40 at the combine, which a lot of people are concerned about. But I'm here to tell you, like Kian's last infomercial, why this doesn't matter.
Okay.
Reset for the media team here.
Yeah.
Tez Johnson ran a 4.51 40-yard dash at the combine. But give me just a second here. Overlook that and look at what else he did at the combine. He ran an elite 3-cone time of 6.65, way faster than everybody else, which is more his play style. He's quick and shifty. He's not a linear speed guy. And most importantly here, this shows why the combine is really the underwear Olympics. He's not a track guy. We're a football player, and he clocked the fastest mile per hour of any wide receiver during drills. This shows he carries his speed through his routes. He's comfortable running full speed while catching the ball. He doesn't have to slow down in his routes, and I think this is why you should love him. I mean, yes, he ran a 4.51 40, but the NFL, we're not competing 40-yard sprints here. Come on, we're running routes. We're routing guys. Quick and shifty. Got to make guys miss. 3-cone. Carrying speed through drills, I love it.
Yeah, it should be a big pro that you said he was a standout at the Senior Bowl. Every year there's a number one standout wide receiver at the Senior Bowl. Last year was Ladd McConkey. That turned out pretty good. The year before was Jaden Reed. That also turned out pretty good. The year before that it was Khalil Shakir. It's turned out pretty darn good. So the fact that Tez Johnson was the guy who was putting cornerbacks in blenders all day, all week at the Senior Bowl looks very good for Tez Johnson's outlook in the NFL. Now, 154 pounds he's literally my size. This guy is literally me. I am 5'10", 154.
That's hilarious, actually.
Yeah.
He looks smaller than you.
I know. He does look smaller than me. That's what I would look like on the field.
I think it's because also he has pads, so his arms look smaller in comparison.
Yeah. But the thing that you talked about is route running, about how you loved his preciseness, his sharpness. Well, I loved what he did after the catch. Impressive, precise, sharp, and fast after the catch. I think he's faster than 4.51. Like, for some reason, he gets slower whenever he takes off all the pads. It's just like a calibration thing. It's like whenever he's dry fired an arrow. Like, he's used to running with he's
weight.
Used to shooting with an arrow. He's used to running with weight, and like he gets all stumbly afterward.
Right.
Like whenever you take all that weight off. So that's how I'll explain that. But
on the field, he probably uses his pad weight to propel him forward. Like if you just lean, it like pulls him.
Yeah.
He's so light, he just pulls him forward.
His pads probably weigh like 10% of what he does.
That's what I was gonna say.
Wow,
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. Probably more than that. That'd be like 15 pounds.
Yeah, pads and helmet.
Oh boy.
It's probably about. I mean, they have lightweight pads as receivers, so it's probably about 15 all combined.
Okay.
Yeah.
But anyways, jerky movements, stutter steps, jukes after the catch that allow him to get defenders flying past him, which is kind of surprising that I was like most impressed with him after the catch, being that he is 154 pounds. But you just want to get this guy the ball in space because he's electric. He's slippery. He is. He also, as you said, Carson, he's good at avoiding a lot of big hits because if guys start to swarm him, he's going to go down, which is good for his outlook for the longevity. Longness kind of, it's got a good ring to it.
I can go with longness. That's fine.
Yeah. But anyway, longness. But he's at his best on short breaking routes where he can be given the ball quickly and on the move, which that's perfectly good because he's probably going to be a slot player. Let me rephrase that. He's definitely going to be a slot player. They're not going to put this guy on the outside.
Yeah.
But also, with all of his abilities and movement skills that he has, it makes him a very good punt returner as well.
Yep. The only pro that I'll add, and then I'll go right into cons, is he continues, when the play extends, he continues to find ways to get open and like finds the open spots on the field very well to be quarterback friendly. So getting into cons, obviously below average size and strength.
Kean's size.
Yeah,
I don't know what he's working with below the waist. I hope that's bigger than Kean's size.
If it's not, then he's not going to survive in an NFL locker room.
Yeah, you're right.
There's no way he's going to the Cowboys. Jerry Jones is going to be like,
no way.
get this millimeter Peter off my team.
I mean, yeah, that's a big con. I'm getting into more cons. I think sometimes he's a good route runner. I think he can get into rounding him sometimes, rounding his cut sometimes. And to me, he's not as shifty as I'd like for a smaller receiver of his size. Like, he is very shifty and quick, but to me, sometimes I want a little bit more. Now, could that be because like I'm looking at these other receivers and they don't play Oregon competition? Maybe, but I don't know why that stuck out to me like it did. But and then this is also a thing that I hesitate to say because he played such good competition all year, but he may, if he's going to be incredibly successful in the NFL, he may depend on being schemed open like I think he was at Oregon. Like I think that happened. That's just the way the scheme works, and that's how Oregon works. They're a very good football team, and they're good at doing that. For the kind of like Matt LaFleur with Green Bay in the NFL, he can scheme receivers open. He might depend on that, but like I said, it's hard to tell. This is Oregon. They played some of the best competition all year, so take that with a bucket of salt, as Carson would say.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that's all I have for Consform. He's a really good prospect.
Yeah, I just have the obviouses as well. Very, very small, not much physicality, and I couldn't have him any higher than 6 because I just feel like his ceiling's capped by his size. He can only do so much with that size and weight. He's not going to break any tackles. If he has to get the first down and he's got to run through 2 guys, sorry, bud, you're going to have to go for it on 4th.
Yep.
Yeah, and I just think that he's about capped as a very good slot receiver. He's not going to do much else.
To put it into perspective here, this guy is 46 pounds under 200 pounds.
That's
a lot.
That sounds way worse.
Jack Best, our wide receiver 8, is 214 pounds. That is 60 pounds heavier than Tez Johnson.
Jeez.
60 pounds. Imagine Tez Johnson carrying a 60-pound dumbbell all the
man.
time.
Ooh.
Yeah, how much was Xavier
That's
Worthy?
what I was just trying to think. I was thinking of Xavier Worthy compared to him. Xavier Worthy says he's 172 pounds.
I can't remember what he was at the combine. I think that he was above 170, though.
Yeah, because but the other difference with Xavier Worthy is he was, no, it doesn't matter, but like he was fast.
Xavier Worthy at the
Obviously.
combine was 11 pounds heavier than Tez.
Okay.
And he ran 3/10
Faster.
faster
It's a lot,
than
yeah.
40. So I can definitely see
What was
you
his
mean.
3-cone, though?
I doubt
Did he
he
do the 3-cone?
I doubt he ran the
Probably
3-cone after the performance he put up in the 40. He's like, yeah, I'm going to clock out here.
Damn.
Let me look.
Yeah, it's so hard to tell because like play speed looks good. He didn't run the 3-cone. But
He did have a 41-inch vert, though. Wow, I forgot
almost
about
11-foot broad jump.
149, 10 yard split.
10'11" broad.
Well, anyways, I see what you mean about him not being as quick and shifty as you like because you
Yeah.
look at the weight and then you watch the film and it's like, man, this guy should be like moving around there like
Lightning, yeah.
like the Tooth Fairy or something. This guy should be jumping like crazy. So I guess I can understand that. I also think my final con for him is that I just don't think he's going to be able to win with speed consistently in the NFL because I said that I think he's faster than 4.51, but he's not 4.21 like Xavier Worthy. I would say he's closer to like mid to low 4.4s. And
Yeah, I think so.
whenever you combine that with his size, it's just not going to work vertically in the NFL, unfortunately, in my opinion.
I agree. Summary comp.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Quick and shifty slot receiver that is a route running technician.
Mhm.
And my first comp, Tank Dell. That's the obvious one that everybody says. But here on Last Stop Sports Talk, we don't like to just fit in with the norm. We like to
No.
come up with our own stuff here.
Another infomercial.
So I'm also going to
we
throw
get you
in,
different opinions.
I'm also going to throw in Wandale Robinson.
Okay, yeah. He's better after the catch than before. I like that one. From the stuff that I saw from Tez, I like that one.
Yeah, Wandale makes sense. That moves us into our number 5 consensus-ranked wide receiver. Goes by the name of Tetroa McMillan, or T-Mac, or Tet, or however you want to say his name.
Tet is just so cool.
Such a cool name, dude. He's from Arizona. He's 6'4", 219. In 2024, he played 12 games. He had 130 targets, 84 receptions, 1,316 receiving yards, 8 receiving touchdowns, 15.7 yards per reception, and 7 drops. Keaton had him 6. Carson had him 5. I had him 4. So let's dive right into him with some of his pros. Obviously, great size. He had good production the past 2 years of college, and he's good at adjusting his routes for different coverages and finding the open space on the field to be QB friendly. And he also works back to the QB very well when the play extends. Also, I think he's got a great catch radius, strong hands for off-body catches that are out of his frame, and whenever he catches the ball, he's one of probably the most in this receiver class. He's so what am I trying to say here? He's so satisfying to watch catch the ball because it's so smooth and effortless. He just, it's like he's not even thinking about it. It's just suction cups to his hands, and he
Yep.
tucks it so quick.
His hands are like a magnet. That's what I saw.
Yeah, exactly. It's just so satisfying to watch. And he's got pretty decent yards after catch ability also. And he's got, in my opinion, good speed and body control, especially for his size. He's a bigger wide receiver, and he's got very good sense of awareness of his field position as far as near sidelines and so forth, and also of his defenders' positions around him.
Yeah, I also thought his yak was surprisingly good.
Yeah.
Great ball tracking and adjustments in the air. Huge catch radius that does look effortless, as you guys said. He's fast enough to be a deep threat, and he was the focal point and only offense in this offense. So I think that's kind of a green flag as well.
Yeah, Noah Fafita all year was like, F it.
Yep.
Tet
Down
down
there
there somewhere. Yep,
Yeah.
and he usually came down with it. I do like you guys both touched on, I like how, for a wide receiver his size, he actually looks to gain yards after the catch. I think that he's like a smooth runner after the catch, too. If he's given the ball in space, with the space in front of him, I think that he can actually do something, or at least gain some extra yards and not just go down like a wussy. I think that he also is very good at coming back to the ball to get into position to make the catch while it's in the air. He's just a smart player who knows how to help Noah Fafita avoid interceptions, because there would have been a lot of them. There would have been a lot of them.
Yeah, definitely.
Tet was definitely very good at that, and I think that he can definitely make that work in the NFL because he has that NFL size. On the Ted Johnson scale, he is 65 pounds heavier than him.
As Johnson scale.
I'll get into cons here. I think that he has enough speed, but it's not flashing, explosive speed.
Completely agree.
Yeah, like for his size, it's pretty darn good. He didn't run it. He didn't run the 40 at the combine because he's right now projected to be the number 1 wide receiver off the board. So can't really get any higher than that. But I just don't think that he has very many quick twitch, angry streaks to be able to consistently beat press coverage off the line of scrimmage. I think that he has a strength too, but as far as like quick twitch, angry, throw the guy to the side, get downfield, I didn't see that at all. That's like one thing that a lot of wide receivers kind of struggle with moving into the NFL is learning how to beat press coverage, because you're playing against plumbers and car salesmen in college most of the time. In the NFL, you're playing against guys that Jamel Dean on the Buccaneers is built like a linebacker. He's like a thick, imagine trying to get him off your chest and then get down the field.
Yeah.
But I think that he can do it because he does have the size and the strength to do it. And I think that after the catch, I like that he can actually do something, but he's not elite after the catch is what I'm going to say. I don't know how well it's going to work in the NFL. I just like that he actually tries for yards after the catch, because he does always gain some extra yards with that momentum moving forward.
Yeah, that's really my only con with him, too, just going off, since you just said it, like not the quickest or sharpest, especially in his cuts or routes, which tends to lead to, depending on his size and strength, to win contested catches, or to win matchups in general, to be honest, which he can definitely do it, and he's dominant at doing it, but that's the only con I have for him, because NFL is obviously harder than college competition.
Tagging along with what you said, Kian, I think he's better suited to college than the NFL, and this is because he's just kind of dominated these weaker corners, and he hasn't really played great competition. And I hate how he's not quick or shifty, and his routes lack suddenness, rounded cuts, and last thing I have to say is I'm just not convinced he's a separator. And for me to like a guy, he has to be a separator. He has to be good at route running, create on his own. He's more of a catch and traffic guy, and he just benefited a lot off of broken plays. I think Noah Fafita was extending the play, and he was just finding T-Mac somewhere down the field and throwing it up to him. But he's not even a great catch and traffic guy. He only had a 60% contested catch rate.
How many opportunities were there though for that? How many did you write down? Did you write down the number of attempts? I'll find it if you didn't.
I can find it real quick. 30 contested catch targets.
That's a lot.
He caught 18 of them.
That's a lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
Like whenever, because I was also looking at the contested catch rate whenever I was writing up my notes and stuff, and 30 is a lot compared to other wide receivers in this class.
Yeah, that is first.
Yep.
Probably about a lot.
In all of the NCAA.
There is one guy close to him. Andrew Armstrong is 29.
Yeah, it's another big receiver that we are definitely not going to talk about today,
Oh, come on.
unless you want to bring him up at the end.
No, I don't. But so yeah, 60% contested catch rate. That's a little underwhelming. 7.7% drop rate, which I saw that he did have some drop problems. I didn't see it personally, but I've heard. And last thing I have to say is Kian said if it wasn't for T-Mac, Noah Fifita would have been intercepted a lot. On targets that went to T-Mac, there was 4 interceptions that resulted from it. Whether that be him losing a jump ball or just a terrible throw. Hard telling not knowing, but
Woo!
yeah, I would like him to create his own separation more and win some of these jump balls because he's another guy that he's 6'4", 6'5", but he doesn't quite play like 5'11". I think he plays more like 6'2" most times. I only saw him go up and get it a time or two here, and it had to be the perfect situation, perfect everything. So,
Does Tet is there a way to see Tet's average depth of target?
Yes.
yes, sir.
Because I feel like that's
Carson, you
probably
got it pulled up.
Yeah,
pretty downfield, and that could play into.
It's A-Dot.
13.7 yards.
That's
okay.
pretty good.
Yeah,
That's
that's pretty
nothing
far.
like spectacular.
Yeah, it's actually
It's kind of lower than I
it's
thought.
right around average. It looks like
Yeah.
average is right around 12 usually.
interesting.
There were some
Okay.
guys in this class. Oh shoot, who was the guy I was looking at? Was it like Elijah Badger who had a crazy average depth of target? I can't remember.
17.3 for Elijah Badger.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy
See,
cow.
that's high.
Yeah.
He averaged like 20.7 yards per catch or something like that. Elijah Badger did.
20 point. Oh no.
Was I wrong?
Yards.
Yep.
I was wrong. Obviously. Who was I looking at? It doesn't matter, I guess, because we're talking about Fifita. But
Yeah,
fair enough.
even so, I mean, this there's not many guys that are, in my opinion, that were better than Tet. In not even my opinion, actually, the facts. But he might have like average depth of target, but his yards per reception was very good.
Yeah.
Seemingly very high, 15.7 yards per reception. So that kind of plays into his.
You're right, Kian. Elijah Badger, 20.7 yards per reception.
Yeah.
Right on the money.
I was kind of
Wow.
I was looking at Elijah Badger for a while because I liked what I saw from him in his film. He's like my wide receiver, 18 or 20 or something. Talking about Tet though.
Talk about Tet.
Talking about Tet.
Summer coming up?
Yes,
we're ready for that.
sir. Summary comp: long receiver with huge catch radius that won't wow you, but will be a reliable target. Comp I really like. First, actually, I have 2 comps. First comp, after the catch, he's like a baby giraffe that's like trying to play with its mom. He's like long and gangly, and like when he like jukes, he like leaves his head behind, like he's like going like that, and like goes like that.
Yeah.
He just looks kind of long and gangly and awkward. NFL comp, more athletic, Mike Williams.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Mike Williams is that contested catch guy.
Yep.
Yeah, why we kind of all have Ted, obviously not at 1.
Oh, I'm gonna hear about this in the comments for sure.
Yeah. Ted's like everybody's one. It seems.
Yeah,
I
now
don't
I
understand
really
this.
like him, but he ended up 4 for me. I'm a big fan because this guy's got traits and size and ability to be able to be very good in the NFL.
Yeah.
But he, to me, compared to some of these guys we're going to talk about ahead of him, like he might, probably will depend more on where he goes. Mm-hmm. Like he's not as bad situation proof, I guess. Like you can always throw it up to him, but I don't know. It just feels that way, and that's why I have him at like only 4 instead of 1 or 2.
You being highest on him, I've seen him go as high as number 4 to the Patriots. How would you think of him on the Patriots?
Patriots I like because
You like
he can build with Drake May, and they kind of got a whole bunch of new situations going on in that building. So that I think I could get along with.
Would you be okay with him being the wide receiver 1 there? Or would you rather see him would you rather see him be like a 1B in the NFL? 1B or wide receiver 2? I feel like wide receiver 2 is,
It depends. I think he could be a great one that could help the guys behind him get open because he'll draw a lot of attention. But like if I want him to have a lot of production, I'd want him to go somewhere to be a 1B.
I view him a lot like Drake London. I
Yeah,
think their
I
play
think it's very
styles and just the
similar.
way they look, honestly, like
Yep.
skin tone and everything down to it.
You're right.
Him and Drake London, I think, are very similar, just in the jump
Yeah.
ball receiver style.
And I'm a big Drake London fan.
I'm not. I'm like, I see Drake London as like at the highest, like a 1B receiver, and that's how I feel. About
Probably,
Ted.
yeah,
'Cause
probably.
I guess one of the reasons why I feel like we all kind of have him ranked lower than consensus, Ted McMillan, that is because I know whenever I'm scouting receivers, I want the movement skills. Maybe you don't have the production that Tet has.
That's why he
but
dropped for me.
But if you have the movement skills, the twitchiness that you need for a receiver to get open, then we're going to rank you higher, which is why we're going to get to our number 1 wide receiver, but he's super, super twitchy. And
Yep.
Tet, I just didn't see that from him. So maybe that's disrespectful to look past his production, but I'm kind of scared to go with him against NFL corners.
NFL is different. Yeah, that's kind of why I think he dropped for me too.
I've kind of defended myself already, but I'll do it again just for the
Okay.
media team.
All right.
Like Ian said, his production is undeniable.
Yeah.
He has 2 amazing years of production, but I think a lot of this it came after the play broke down, and I think for this reason he's better in college because he can just bully
Kind of make his
smaller
own.
corners, do it off script. But NFL is more like timing, rhythm, and I think in these timing, rhythm routes, you need to be a sharp route runner. You need to create separation with a step, and I think he rounds his cuts. He's more of a, let the play break down, let him kind of make something happen on his own, and this is why he was great with Noah Fafita, because Noah Fafita was great at extending the play and throwing it down there. And he's just not a route runner like some of these other guys we're going to talk about, and I don't think he can move the chains if the blitz is coming and you need to throw it to a guy that's going to get some separation quick. I don't think it's this guy.
Yeah, I think I agree with a lot you said there.
Cody, you said he's last thing here, then we'll move on, because I know we've talked about Tet for a while here, but last thing, you said he's very landing spot dependent, and I agree with you on that. One place that I would love, they don't need him, but he would be awesome with this quarterback, Caleb Williams.
I agree.
Because
I think so.
Ted McMillan is a very smart receiver. He sees whenever Noah Fafita was panicking and breaking down, and he found the open spot, and he went up and made a contested catch whenever the cornerbacks closed on him. Yep. Caleb Williams, whenever he's panicked and running around, he could just chuck it up to Tet, and Tet could be the wide receiver 1 on that team, I feel like.
He might work with Bryce Young in Carolina.
He could.
Yeah. Could work
He's
in
not
that
as much
type
of like an
situation.
improviser as
Right.
Caleb Williams, but
Yeah.
I would love to see him play with an improvising quarterback, and I think that he would be great at his best there.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I agree. All right, let's move into our number 4 consensus ranked wide receiver, Emeka Ibuka out of Ohio State. He's 6'1", 202 pounds. In 2024, he played 16 games and won the Natty, obviously. Had 106 targets, 81 receptions, 1,011 receiving yards, 10 receiving touchdowns, 12.5 yards per reception, and 5 drops. Kian, you and Carson had him at 4. I had him at 5. So, Carson, get us started.
I do not like this guy as much as my ranking suggests.
Okay.
Yeah. I mostly just have him this high because his floor is so high. I think he's such a safe prospect. He's produced ever since he was a freshman. He's produced freshman, sophomore, and junior years. Pulling up his stats. Yeah. Freshman year, 83 receiving grade with 1,150 yards.
Wow.
Sophomore year was a little less. He only played 10 games, but he had 514 yards. And then this year, obviously, just over 1,000 yards. 10 touchdowns freshman and junior year. All with right around an 80 receiving grade. I just think that he uses IQ and route leverage to get open. And he has good ball tracking and he's smooth. But the biggest thing is he just understands routes. He understands how to get open. He understands how to make himself best available to the quarterback. I don't think he's going to kill him with speed, quickness, any of these traits I love to see. But I just have him so high because he's a safe prospect and he's done it for so long at such a high level. At Ohio State is another huge thing. So I just had to put him at 4 because all these guys that I originally had him at 9. Moved him up to 4 because he's so much safer than all his prospects, and those prospects can bust. But I think those prospects have a higher ceiling than Emeka Ibuka does.
Yep, I agree. To me, Emeka Ibuka and like Tet that we were just talking about are very, very close. And to me, like if I could put them as a tie, I'd probably put them as a tie because they're different players, obviously. But I'll talk about what I like about Ibuka here. He's a reliable slot wide receiver with decent size, decent speed, great hands. Like I'll say great hands. I'll just say he has a lot of NFL traits, in my opinion. He's got great hands, being that they're pretty sticky, and he has the ability for like the late hands everyone talks about, like not show them till the very last minute.
Yeah.
So that's a very good NFL trait. Another NFL trait that I liked, he seems to have the habit of getting 2 feet in bounds. Like that's just natural to him. So that's also very important because obviously in college you only need one. And he's just got overall good body control. He can make late adjustments and to give him just enough separation to get open. And I think he's got good speed through his routes. Is he the fastest? No. But he can carry his speed through his routes, and he's got just good route running speed, I guess I should say. And like Carson said, good production in college. He's smart with finding the open spots on the defense. He can work back to the quarterback. Just a lot of traits that are going to be NFL friendly.
Yeah. I think he runs really good routes, but they're not jerky or twitchy routes. They're just smooth and confident is what they are. It's like he knows where he wants to get to, and he trusts in his route running to get him there, and then it usually does.
Yep.
I think that he has he's probably going to play in the slot. He basically always has. He's got good size, movement ability combination for 6'1", 202. It's not going to blow you away, but now I'll get into a little pro-con because he's a jack-of-all-trades, master of none. I feel like we have one of these for every position, and I feel like he is the epitome. Epitome? Is that the right way to use that word?
Sure.
Okay.
Pretty good.
He's the epitome of jack-of-all-trades, master of none in this. Freaking poet today. But in this wide receiver class, he is that. Clean route runner. Always makes concentration catches, even in tight coverage. Mr. Reliable. Quarterback's best friend, knowing that he will have beaten his man by the time the quarterback needs the ball by at least a half step. He might not gain crazy separation because he's not a sharp route runner, but smooth. And Collins is basically that. No area of his game that's flashy or elite. I think also he's not going to make defenders miss after the catch. As I said, his game is smooth, not jerky or twitchy. Routes are not the sharpest or most crisp. As I said, no, keep saying it. But basically, it's my only concern with him is that he is not jerky or twitchy anywhere in his game. He's too smooth. Now, can NFL cornerbacks with quick twitch ability contain him, slow him down, or jump his routes? That's my main concern, is that maybe they could. Yeah. And I've got a pretty good comp for him.
Nice.
I also love my comp and summary. But I'll talk about some cons here first. The main thing that you didn't mention, I have the average speed, average strength, not much of a threat after the catch as well. Gets in and out of breaks kind of slowly. Smooth is fast, but there's nothing sudden about his routes.
Nope.
The only other thing I have to say is he just played in an offense with many other threats during his whole career, and this removed pressure from him and focus from the defense. But on the other hand, he produced alongside these threats, so he still held his own, but he was getting outshined by... or he was getting pressure off him by Trayvon Henderson, Quinshon Judkins, Jeremiah Smith. Was Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave there his freshman year, or who was that during his freshman year?
Garrett Wilson.
Wait a minute. So his first year was 2022?
Yeah.
Okay, so they were... Let's see, last year was year 2 for Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave, right? So yes, that would have been their final year there.
Okay, yeah, so Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave there his freshman year, and he still had... That was his best season, actually, was alongside them. 1,150 receiving yards.
Flying in it.
74 receptions, 10 touchdowns.
Yeah, CJ Stroud.
I'm looking at their roster, too.
Okay, well,
No. Sorry. Go back, reset for social media team.
Okay, I was wrong.
Their last year was Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave were both drafted in 2022, and their last year of playing in Ohio State was 2021. So take back everything you just said.
Okay.
Take all that back.
He did play with JSN, though.
That's it.
And I think Stroud wasn't the same draft class as Garrett Wilson, was he?
No, I thought it was a year after.
That's what I thought, too. So he did have, yes, he played in 2022. So he had 1 year, that first year, Emeka Egbuka had with CJ Stroud.
Slinging it.
Freshman year, he had Cade Stover, JSN there, Julian Fleming, for what that's worth.
What a terrible wide receiver.
And CJ Stroud at quarterback. So he did have some competition there to kind of hold him off during his freshman year. That probably was his best season because he didn't get outshined here.
Yeah.
Which is kind of some cause for concern because he took a step back with this other competition coming in. But it also shows that he's okay with being the 2 in an NFL offense, and he knows he's not going to be the focal point, the star. So it's good he already knows his place.
Marvin Harrison was there, too.
Oh, yeah, true.
Really?
2022? Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, he was.
I got one more con on
Let me
that.
reset again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
reset again.
Who was there in 2022?
Hang on, let me look at the What website are you looking at here?
I just looked at. Well, I just thought of another
Google.com.
because I was thinking like, there's no way that he was the wide receiver one any time in his career because JSN was there in 2022 along with Marvin Harrison Jr. and then JSN left. Then it was just Marvin Harrison Jr. and him in 2023, and then last year it was Jeremiah Smith who was the wide receiver one. So he was never the wide receiver one any of his 3 years. He was with 3 different sets of guys, and he was never the guy.
So yeah,
and still produced.
Yeah.
All right. To get back on track, I got one more con that you guys didn't say because I agree with the average speed, quickness, below average yards after catch. He seems to go down on first contact way more often than I'd like, and he's not as strong as I'd like a slot wide receiver to be to take hits across the middle and run through the middle of the field. Even though it's friendlier now to wide receivers, but you still got to be tough to get through the middle. So you guys can get into your comps if you'd like.
Well, for one thing, I do have like a slight NFL comp, but I hate it because I hate whenever people do comps from the same school. But he's literally Jackson Smith and Jigba. I think as far as like the way they play, Jackson Smith and Jigba is a guy who's going to get open, not going to do a whole lot after the catch. There's nothing super flashy or exciting about him. He's just a darn good wide receiver, which is what I think Emeka Egbuka is. And then my comp that I'm really proud of, that I was watching him, I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what it is. He is a freshly waxed anything. You could talk body part, you could talk hardwood floor, a car, and then for my description, I usually put a little description below my comp. I just put smooth and then a period.
Nice.
A freshly waxed anything.
Cool.
Smooth peanut butter?
Yeah, it could be peanut butter. Yeah.
Oh.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right, my summary comp. High floor, low ceiling receiver that is a polished and smooth route runner out of the slot that is lacking athleticism and explosiveness. NFL comp, Jarvis Landry.
Oh yeah.
I also saw
That's a good one.
I also saw some Juju in there,
Okay.
but
yeah.
double
I
Big
think
slot.
Juju's a little better after the catch.
Yeah, stronger for sure.
Stronger.
Yeah.
Bigger. All right, that brings us into our number 3 consensus ranked wide receiver by the name of Travis Hunter out of Colorado. He is 6 foot, 188 pounds. In 2024, he played 13 games, had 121 targets, 96 receptions, 1,258 receiving yards, 15 receiving touchdowns, 13.1 yards per reception, and 3 drops. Keith had him 5. I had him 3. Carson had him 1. So let's get into it, Carson.
Gonna hear about that one.
Yeah,
This one,
you will.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
am. Yes, I am.
yeah,
Yes,
well,
yes, I am. Yeah.
This is a guy that's hard
I didn't know you knew him that well.
Yeah.
to rank. So, now I'll defend myself here. I ranked him as the what if. What if we make him a full-time receiver? He focuses all his time towards receiver. He learns the receiver ways, drops corner. That's what I'm judging off of here. He already has a knack for getting 2 feet in bounds. Like, I was so impressed. He has incredible ball skills.
Yes.
They're insane. They're some of probably the best I've ever seen coming out of college. They're better than Jamar Chase, better than Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
Just strictly ball skills. He makes very, very tough catches, wins jump balls, big catch radius. He's always always has a chance to come down with the ball. Decent after the catch, nothing that's going to knock your socks off. Very strong short hands, as I said. He's a grab-and-go receiver. Quick, fairly quick, I guess I should say, getting in and out of breaks. And he comes back to the ball. Now, like I said, he does need some polishing, but I think strictly what's here and what's possible, he would be the one in this class, and he's right up there with all the top guys in the NFL.
Yep.
From a talent perspective, he just needs some refining here and there. He played almost 120 snaps per game. To put that into perspective with some of the top names in this draft class, Luther Burden played about 45 snaps a game. So he's playing damn near triple the amount of snaps as Luther Burden and still putting up almost 1,300 yards, 15 receiving touchdowns, and only 3 drops all year with 96 receptions. That's crazy. He's got short hands, ball skills, like I said. You guys can take away. I've said enough.
Yeah, I mean, he's all that everyone talks about. I can't say much more. He's just smart and reliable with elite athleticism and elite ball skills. For his size, he's not the biggest, but he's got a good catch radius and incredible body control. And he's not, like you said, he's not the fastest, but he carries his speed very well through his cuts and downfield through his routes. But like I just said again, he's not the fastest, but to me, he's got really great play speed and pretty decent quickness, and he plays with really good tempo, and he can change that tempo when needed to adjust on the fly.
Yeah, you guys basically said everything. I got him wide receiver 5. That's what I'm gonna hear in the comments. But this guy is the best contested catch receiver in this class, and he's not even that big.
No,
he's 6 foot, 188 pounds. Countless times he's just bailing out Shedeur Sanders. This guy is crazy. As far as like, you know that he's gonna come down with this ball, even though you look across the line at him, he's not that big. It's like I can outmuscle that guy. It's like you probably can't.
He's like the opposite of what we said previously in this episode. 6 foot, but he plays like he's 6'5".
Yeah,
Yeah,
like opposite of Jaden Higgins.
Yeah, like if you put Travis Hunter up against Tet McMillan in a jump ball, I'm giving my 70% chance to Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah, I agree with that.
His timing is so good.
Yeah. And just the word that I would use to describe him is scrappy.
Yes. very
Scrappy, fighting for the ball, and scrappy after the catch, too. I think that he's always fighting for extra yards. He's making moves to get whatever yards he can, even if they're unnecessary and they don't get him anywhere.
That happens a lot, too,
Yeah, he's always fighting for extra yards. I don't think that he is great after the catch. What I'm saying is that he always tries, and he does something ugly to get yards after the catch. Not great yards after the catch or anything, though. Yeah. I think that he's quick to change directions, and he gets up to speed really well after a stationary catch. I think that he can also stop on a dime to get a defender flying past him after the catch. He's got a very, like, bouncy stop-and-go running style, like a very flashy kind of street ball-like play style.
Yep.
He'd be very good at the game Jackpot, where like one person stands down there, throws the ball up into a crowd of people, and you try to catch the ball.
Yeah.
Big like Hail Mary situation type of thing. As far as for the cons, why I have him wide receiver 5, I am concerned about his route running ability. I see his route running as very close to Tet McMillan, and I have these guys ranked very close together as my wide receivers 5 for Travis Hunter, and then 6 as Tet McMillan, because I don't know. I think that he relied greatly on Shedeur Sanders just chucking it up to him, just like Fafita was chucking it up to Tet. So I feel like there is more to be desired for his route running ability. I don't think his routes are very crisp or sharp. I don't think he's very explosive out of his breaks either. And another big con, I guess it's not really his fault, but this guy took some shots. This guy is getting clobbered so much, and he is only 188 pounds, so like I don't want that to catch up to him, especially when he's playing so many snaps. This guy is taking a beating every single season. And the reason why we even ranked him as a wide receiver, we weren't going to, because I originally thought that he was just going to play corner and then get 15 to 20 snaps as a wide receiver per game, which like at that point, it's like you're playing basically a quarter of the offensive snaps per game. It's not really worth ranking you as a wide receiver if you're not really going to play wide receiver. But now, I've seen he could go as high as number 2 overall to the Browns. If he goes to the Browns, he could play wide receiver there because they need wide receiver worse, or I guess more.
Yeah.
More? Bet? I don't know. They need wide receiver over corner because they're okay at corner. Wide receiver is Jerry Jeudy, who is just a guy and nobody else. So that's why we even have him ranked as a wide receiver. But overall, I haven't watched his cornerback film yet, so I don't know how I feel about him as a corner. But as a wide receiver, I think that he is still definitely top of this class because of his amazing ball skills, as you guys hammered on. But route running, he's got a lot to learn yet, I believe.
Yeah. His going right off your, I like your description of scrappy style because I think so. But yeah, that's really the biggest negatives for me is he gets taken down somewhat easily after the catch. Like you talked about, he tries, but sometimes it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And that scrappy style leads to taking some of those big shots, and that was a negative for me as well.
Yeah, my only negative is his route running needs polishing, and that's with like 60 grit sandpaper, pretty rough.
Yeah, you need to go in with it pretty rough and then smooth it out. Yeah.
But I have him ranked as 1, like I previously said. I have faith that
you get a belt sander on
if
there.
If he focuses full time on receiver, people have been raving about how intelligent he is, how nuanced he is as a corner.
And how can he not be?
Yeah, I feel like corners have to be very sudden, very quick to keep up with these guys. I think he can do it to receiver as well. Summary comp, or you guys have anything else?
No, go for it.
All right. Playmaker receiver with excellent ball skills. And as my comp, I see a lot of Devontae Smith in his scrappiness and not very big, but wins some jump balls. But I think if he goes receiver full time, he works on this route running and things he needs to work on, he can develop into more of a CD Lamb.
Wow. High praise.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is high praise. I like it though. All right, let's move into our number 2 consensus right.
Reset.
A little bit of word salad there on this this morning. All right, reset for the social media team. Moving into our number 2 consensus ranked wide receiver, Luther Burden III out of Missouri. He is 6 foot, 206 pounds. In 2024, he played 12 games. He had 81 targets, 61 receptions, 676 receiving yards, 6 receiving touchdowns, 11.1 yards per reception with 3 drops, and he also had 18 rush attempts with 88 rush yards. Kian, you had him 2. I also had him 2. Carson had him 3. So I'm going to get us started on him. This is a fast, quick, slippery slot receiver who can also play out of the backfield and be used in motion, and he can have success on all 3 levels of the field. He's just a dynamic playmaker. Great hand timing, but by that I mean like he's very smart with late hands for the catch, not showing that, and he can track the ball downfield like an outfielder tracks a pop-up in the MLB. He's very athletic, good body control, and a pretty good yak too, like a good yak ability, and he runs with the ball like he's a running back. Like he's just very talented in that aspect and breaks a lot of tackles, and he's also got good long speed too, in my opinion. Along with all that, the last thing I'll add here is he's always got big play potential because of all these traits and aspects in his athleticism, and he's got strong hands to catch outside of his frame and be confident with it.
Yep. I saw everything that you saw.
Yeah, this
Speed.
dude's electric.
Oh, yeah. Speed, quickness, acceleration, he's got them all. The 4.41 40-yard dash definitely does show up on film.
Yes.
This guy steps onto the field, and he's automatically the best athlete on the field. He is electric, just as you said. Just get the ball in his hands. He's going to make something happen. Stop and go, juke, spin move. Yak is his specialty. He wins by making defenders miss. Being a Debo supporter, I get annoyed how basically anytime you get a guy like this who takes some carries, good at yards after the catch, everybody's like, that's Debo Samuel. He's not Debo Samuel.
Nope,
Debo
not at
Samuel
all.
wins with tackle breaking. Luther Burden has the skill to make defenders miss.
Yes.
Tackle breaking, not as good as making defenders miss for him. But he just moves with a quick twitch ability that you just don't see out of wide receivers very often. He sometimes tries to plant and go so quickly, so hard that his cleats slip. There were so many times where his cleats were slipping in the turf.
yeah.
I don't understand how he slips so much. I don't know if his cleats are just different than everybody else, but
Need to get this guy some big studs.
yeah, seriously. But I loved, as I said earlier, a big part of me scouting wide receivers is how they move, and Luther Burden is one of the best movers in this class.
Yes.
Yeah. When I was watching film last year, I just started watching next year because I was so fired up about what was to come, and I almost declared him as an early my guy as well, but I decided not to. But I still really like this guy. We're gonna do our my guys episode later, probably if we do one.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's great underneath threat, great initial burst. He can be used all over the field. He played 261 slot snaps, 36 out wide snaps, but I think he is athletic enough to play out wide if a team wants to use him that way every once in a while. You guys already hit on his yak. I agree with everything you said there. I think he plucks the ball out of the air very quick and transitions into his yak. Grab and go catcher. And what's really the most important thing here is his insane missed tackles forced per attempt. If you guys remember, Ashton Genty was by far and away the highest at 0.4 missed tackles forced per attempt. A more typical for a high-end running back was 0.3. Any guesses about what Luther Burden is?
I'm going to go with, based on what I saw on film, if you're talking about, like, this is per carry, right? This is
Missed
per
tackles forced per attempt. So every reception, how many missed tackles is he forcing? Ashton Genty was 0.4 missed tackles forced per rush.
Are you on his rushing ability?
What?
Are you on his rushing stats?
No, this is just receptions.
Oh, this is receiving stats?
Only receiving.
Oh, jeez.
4.7?
0.55.
0.49.
Wow.
Wow.
That's way
pretty
higher
good.
than Genty, way higher than all the running backs, and I think that shows up on film as well. He has suddenness in his routes. He's the youngest in the class aside from Isaiah Bond, and he showed up in the biggest moments. Now, people are concerned, and I think he's dropped a little bit because he took a big step back this year. His junior year, last year, over 1,200 yards, 86 receptions, 9 receiving touchdowns. This year, he was 61, 676 for 6. And the big thing here is first and foremost, he had a third-string quarterback for 3 games this year.
Yeah.
And then the second thing is he only played 306 passing downs. This because Missouri started to lean on the run after Brady Cook went down.
Yep.
To put this in perspective with some of the other receivers in this class, T-Mac played 485 passing downs. So Luther Burden played 63% of the passing snaps that T-Mac did. And if you extrapolate that and everything, then he's right up there with T-Mac in stats. He has the size, he has the ability, but some of my cons, I just think he lacks the home run speed, not much of a downfield threat. At least he wasn't used like it.
Yeah.
He was used a lot in screens and jet sweeps. And I think his route running downfield needs to develop to be that true all-around threat. Right now, he's just, I'd say 15 yards and under, he's great right now.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of this guy. He was almost my favorite coming out, and he's obviously my 2. But, yeah, that's my biggest con, too, is his game is pretty much only focused on short yardage routes, and he doesn't really work back to the quarterback the best when the play breaks down. And my only other con is he didn't play much great competition, and when he did, production kind of dropped a little bit against that better competition, so I'm a little concerned with that. But he's just too electric and too dynamic to put him very low for those.
Yeah, the cons that I have for him is a question. Can he win contested catches consistently? That's where I have concerns, because I want to know how strong are his hands when he has to make a contested catch with his arms extended, because the cornerbacks are better in the NFL. And he just rarely had situations where the corners could keep up with his hyperactive movements and challenge him at the catch point. But I feel like that's going to happen more often in the NFL. He also wasn't really asked to run very diverse routes. Missouri just wanted to get the ball in his hands and let him create magic. Now, do I think that he has the physical traits and movement ability to run every route? Absolutely. But we just haven't really seen it. He was used as more of a gadget guy. I feel like that he would be a very good slot receiver who is electric. I would even be okay with him playing outside. I think that he has the movement ability and the route running savvy that he could grow into, that he could play outside. I just think that you need this guy on your team because he is a big play waiting to happen.
Yep, completely agree.
Summary comp.
Yes, sir.
Tough slot receiver that shows suddenness and strength during and after the catch. And for my NFL comp, there's lots of Deebo Samuels out there that people say, so not going with that.
Good.
Yep.
There's lots of DJ Moores out there, people are saying. But there's too much of that, too, so I'm not going to go with that.
Okay.
I'm going to think of my own here. Rashee Rice.
Okay. Yeah. I think he's got more speed than Rashee Rice, but play style is
definitely more
play
athletic.
style is
yeah.
similar. Yeah.
Play style is very similar.
I like it. I like the different comps.
And I think if he was in the same shoes that Rashee Rice is in the Chiefs, then he would, look out.
Look out.
Look out.
That'd be dangerous.
Yeah.
All right. Bringing us into our number 1 consensus-ranked wide receiver, Matthew Golden out of Texas. He's 5'11", 191 pounds. In 2024, he played 16 games, 83 targets, 58 receptions, 987 receiving yards, 9 receiving touchdowns, 17 yards per reception, and 4 drops. Carson, you had him 2. Kian and I had him 1. So, Kian, get us started.
Wow, did this guy really raise the rankings this year?
Yeah.
Not just for us. Like, obviously, he's our wide receiver 1, so you can't get any higher than that. But just in the consensus rankings of all of Draft Nation, he's never had a season over 1,000 yards. This year, he only had 987 receiving yards. And then the 2 years before that, he was at Houston before he transferred to Texas. He had 419 receiving yards in 2023 and 584 receiving yards in 2022. Crazy that this guy on such little production can be ranked so high, but let me explain it here, because this guy, in my opinion, this guy is the best route runner in the class. He runs his routes and cuts his corners with quick, choppy steps so sharp he leaves the cornerbacks guessing, because he could cut any direction in that moment. He was able to gain so much separation in this way. He is a crisp route runner, and as I said, I think he's the best in the class. Everything just looks so easy for him. He can make some defenders miss after the catch with a quick juke move. He shows good speed, quickness, acceleration before and after the catch. I didn't see 4.29 40-yard dash speed. Honestly, if you would have shown me Isaiah Bond, who is talking himself up as the fastest
receiver of all time,
I probably would have taken Isaiah Bond in a race over Matthew Golden, honestly, just the way they play. But 4.29 is very darn good for him. And he also had a 1.49 10-yard split quickness, so which I did see that, but the 40-yard dash, no. I think he's elite on comeback and curl routes when he can show his quick steps to get stopped and turned at the snap of a finger, and good reaction time too, because Quinn Ewers would put that ball on him in a hurry. There were times when he would turn around and that ball was about 5 feet from him. He had to get his hands up and catch the ball, and he made it look really easy. Just quick hands to secure that ball, then immediately pull it away from the defender's reach. I saw that a lot too. He's not the greatest contested catch receiver. He's only 5'11", 191, so but if he ever does get the chance where he has to make a contested catch, he snatches that ball and he tucks it really fast to get it out of the cornerback's reach, which I think is very, very good. So what other pros do you guys have? Because Cody, you had him as wide receiver 1 as well.
I did, yeah. And I'll add right on to that contested catch thing you just talked about. In that specific instance, he plays bigger than what he measures. He's just strong at that catch point. As far as what I have to add, I just completely agree with everything you said. I mean, I'll add that he has good awareness. Like, he's a smart player. He's got good awareness of where he's out on the field and his defenders around him. He's got good yak ability. He's a good ball tracker down the field. He's quick through his cuts and breaks, and he can change speeds very well too and adjust to kind of put defenders on their heels. And I kind of think, I don't know if I'd put him as the best route runner in the class, but he's a very, very good route runner. And he's effective on all 3 levels of the field. He can line up anywhere on the field and have success. And one of the biggest things for me is he also showed up and showed out in the CFP this year, which is probably what really rose everyone's ranks. But he didn't have the most production in the CFP, but he had incredible games with clutch catches when you needed it, and that's what you want to see. That's one of the top things that I want to see. Like, can this guy make the big catches at the big moments? And this guy definitely can.
Against Arizona State in that, well, first we'll talk about against Georgia in the SEC championship game. He went 12 targets, 8 receptions, 162 yards, and then against Arizona State in their first college football playoff game, he went 10 targets, 7 receptions, 149 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah, he propelled that team into the playoffs.
To hit again on the 2 biggest things you guys said, I just think he is a great route runner. Sharp cuts to create separation, and he has some change of speed in his route running, which is great. He does play bigger than his size, as Cody said. I agree with as well. Strong fighter at the catch point with good hands and focus. And the last thing that you guys didn't really hit on, first of all, he did show up in big moments with these contested catches when he had to have it, as you briefly said. But he came in and he was the biggest contributor and go-to guy for Quinn Ewers when he needed it most. He was never supposed to be the guy. Isaiah Bond was supposed to be the guy for Texas. Texas wanted him to be the guy so bad. He was supposed to produce. He was a 5-star recruit that came in everywhere. He was supposed to be dominant. They were trying to force feed him the ball. It just wasn't working out. Matthew Golden just ended up winning the job. It wasn't forced. He did it himself. They didn't even want it to happen. It just happened because he was the better receiver here. Quinn Ewers trusted him, and he went to him in these big moments, and that's why he did rise up these boards, because people saw, he is the real deal. He can do it. I am a little concerned about his these Steve Sarkisian offenses are kind of known to spread it out and be good for receivers, so I'm kind of concerned about that, but I think his route running is great, so I think that'll translate to the NFL well. Now, some of the cons, he seems a bit weak at times. Top of his routes and in press coverage, he's weak. And then just average guy. He's not going to wow you. He's not going to create a whole lot. He might make one guy miss every now and then, but he's not going to be a real threat.
Yeah, a pro-con that I had is, we kind of already mentioned it, but he's on the smaller side than I'd like to see, but he plays bigger than he measures, so that's the pro-con there. But going off of how he is downfield, and I think sometimes whether it's he's tired or something, I think some of his breaks can get a little bit sloppy getting through him. I mean, that's a nitpick because it doesn't happen often, but I did see it a little bit. But that's really all I have. Yeah,
the only con that I have is that he's probably going to lack the strength to win tightly contested jump balls with his size being 5'11", 191.
Yeah.
Ready to get into some comps? Because I have a comp for this guy.
Go for it, yeah.
This guy is the fingers of a person flawlessly playing the piano. There's
what the hell? What is going on in your mind? That's How do you even think of that?
Because there's so whenever a person's playing the piano, it's like camera's only on their fingers. Just so many quick movements in all directions to create music so beautiful.
All right,
what I thought.
I get it.
Just
Yeah,
go to
I
the
like
next
it.
one, please, if you have.
No,
another.
that's it. Yeah.
What the hell? You said you have a cup.
No. I said I had a comp and a really good one, and it was.
That was
Delivered.
I do like that one.
All right.
It's really good.
I like
was
it.
really good.
That's definitely creative.
That's one of your best non-football metaphors. Honestly, that's pretty good.
I don't know, I really liked my one last year. I don't know if you were on the episode, Cody, but James Williams last year, he was a safety linebacker combo who like the Titans drafted, and we were doing a draft grades episode, and I said that I said picture a little kid standing by the ocean.
Oh, goodness.
And then picture a tidal wave coming.
All right, that one's got to be the best. Yeah, that one's
Taking
the
them
best.
out. Yeah.
No, you had some other pretty good ones, but I can't think of them right now.
I'll have to go back through my draft grades last year because I was coming up with them. Oh, I said that an undrafted free agent safety who is slipping my mind, who went to like the Buccaneers or something. I said that he was Buck from Ice Age. That little like the weasel thing with the eye patch.
No, even this year you've had some good ones, but I can't think of them.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I said that Ashton Genty was one of those inflatable kids punching bags
That one
made
was
of
good.
Kevlar.
You also say he's a lockbox, and then didn't
Yeah.
explain it at all.
He said he's built like a short lock box.
Yeah, he said a lockbox. I said, you didn't say anymore.
Hey, the little safe.
This is the safe. Yeah, makes more sense. Oh
Yeah.
my god, pretty good.
Summary comp.
Yeah, wrap it up.
Great separator and hands catcher that won't do much after the catch. And then my comp that I eventually settled on, Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, I like that one a
Yeah.
lot. Mm-hmm.
That one makes a lot
I think
of sense.
that's really good. I like that one.
Thank
Yeah, similar size too. I think.
Well done.
Yeah.
Way to cap it.
Well
Thank you.
done.
It's not quite like the fingers of a person playing the piano.
You're right.
It's close. I'll never live up to that, though.
Yeah, never. All right, that wraps this episode. This episode of the Draft Brothers, our wide receiver
Well, you guys got any
consensus
ones?
ranks.
Any other guys you want to shout out? Sleepers in this
Oh,
class?
yeah, I definitely do.
Ooh, go for it.
I've got
I don't know
two
if I do.
guys.
I might have
Um,
two as well. I'm
Okay.
kind of
Well,
undecided.
the first one that I have to say, just because he's in my top 10 and we didn't get to talk about him, this guy's going through some legal troubles right now. That's some of the best receivers, though. Some of the best.
You're right.
So
best
you're saying
football players.
you're saying the Chiefs are drafting this guy.
Probably.
Fit well there.
He's out of LSU.
For
LSU's
reasons.
got a good reputation for receivers as well. I got to talk about Kyron Lacey
Go for it.
because I feel like this guy, if he didn't go to the combine because he wasn't invited because he was invited by the police to go
court.
to jail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can't even remember what he did.
His
It's not
previous engagements.
he made prior commitments.
Yeah.
But the thing that I like about him
Oh my
is that
gosh.
he's not a special athlete. His speed is not special. He doesn't offer much after the catch. But like I said, I matured as
You said that's the thing you like about him?
Yeah, sorry. I put his cons first. That's my bad. But anyways, this guy's good at changing speeds throughout his routes. He gains separation in that way. He's got good concentration and IQ during his receptions. I saw him win consistently in the intermediate depth of the field. He's great at curls and comeback routes with his choppy steps and turns. He is a very steady possession receiver who I think is smart and knows how to win with his route running. He's one of those guys who makes cornerbacks think, oh, this guy isn't really an athlete, I can cover him, and then he just cooks them. This is a guy who I think that his separation skills and his choppiness in his routes is going to help him succeed in the NFL, but like I said, he's not going to be anything more than a possession receiver. And then there's one more guy who is my guy for me, who Carson hasn't ranked even higher than me, but out of UNLV, I got to talk about Ricky White III. This guy is a Kean Crop certified football player because he is a terrible athlete.
Yeah, he is.
He had, was he the slowest wide receiver at the combine? He ran a 4.61 40-yard dash.
Yeah, it's probably close.
But I saw on the film his speed is like average at best. Quickness and acceleration are just okay. He earned an athleticism score of 61 out of 100 according to NFL Next Gen
you say
Stats.
earned like he had to work.
Earned, yeah.
He earned it.
Yeah, it's an F in
Yeah.
athleticism.
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 But he all this he looks like he should be faster because he's only 6'1", 184. But he's still a terrible wide receiver, or a terrible athlete, I mean. But a very good wide receiver is what I saw. He's got to be a slot guy. He just makes very sharp cuts to get defenders off balance during his routes and after the catch. He can leave some defenders guessing with his sharp changes of direction. He's crafty after the catch with his combinations of stopping on a dime, cutting, then going. A solid route runner who I think can gain separations with his sharp cuts. But like I said, probably just going to be limited to the slots. But the biggest thing with him, with Ricky White III, that I loved him, that even before I watched his film and I was just looking at his stats and had heard all these things about him, even before I watched him, I had to make him my guy because this guy is awesome. He blocked 4 punts in
Oh my
2024.
goodness.
He blocked 4
I was
all
gonna say
himself.
that.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, even if this guy is like sucking as a wide receiver, he doesn't make it in the NFL as a wide receiver. I know that he's going to stay on as a special teamer because he was the number 1 receiver at UNLV, and he played on special teams, just like played with heart, blocked 4 punts, like I said. I'm like,
Yeah.
amazing.
Wow.
I love
That's
this guy.
crazy.
I am in.
Jeez.
And then he didn't block a 5th one, but he returned a 5th one for a touchdown.
Yeah. This guy was always back there, just terrorizing
Stud.
the punter. He was terrorizing corners and punters all year.
As a receiver, he would just take over some games.
Yeah.
All right, one guy that I want to mention, I'm sure I'm going to get absolutely
Flamed.
flacked for it
Oh, by me.
by both of you guys, because Cody has him 15, Kian has him 17, I have him 7, baby. Pat Bryant out of Illinois.
Okay.
This guy is a big, strong body.
His body out
as a
there,
receiver.
that's for sure.
6'3", 200. Grab and go catcher at this size, which is great. Sharp cuts and amazing suddenness in his routes. If you put him into an NFL offense with great timing, then this is where he's going to thrive. And I feel like because of this, his game fits better in the NFL and college. His routes, he understands how to manipulate and read corners, and then boom, he uses suddenness to break one way, and the ball needs to be right on him, and he's going to catch it. Only 1 drop all year. Good yak ability. He fights for every yard he can get. Strong after the catch. Strong at the top of his routes. He's a go-to guy in the big moments for Illinois. And Garrett Altmaier, almost 70% contested catch rate. Great hands catcher, as I said. He's often fully extending his arms. Unlike these other guys in this class, this guy's 6'3". He actually plays like 6'3". And he's a PFF star as well. When targeted, he has a passer rating of 140.8.
Wow.
Yeah. Now
That's pretty good.
Now I will see what you guys. I understand why he's not so high. He has no elite traits and he has not great speed or burst.
Yep.
But I think that he understands route running and he can thrive in an offense that runs with some strict, solid timing, kind of like the 49ers. And my NFL comp for him, a bigger Devontae Adams.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, I did like
pretty
Pat
similar.
Bryant. I didn't realize how low I had him until you just mentioned it right there, because I wanted to have him higher. I just couldn't put him. I'm not a Trey Harris guy, but I couldn't put him above Trey Harris, who I have at 16, so I had to put him at 17. But I did like what I saw from Pat Bryant. Literally everything that I saw from Pat Bryant is Keon Coleman. This guy is Keon Coleman. Like,
Don't disrespect Pat Bryant like that.
Hey, I'm just
Keon
saying.
Coleman does not have this suddenness or route running finesse.
I'm just saying, larger, slow wide receiver with strength to win contested catches and break tackles despite not running away from any defenders. Keon Coleman.
I recommend
Okay.
you guys to go rewatch Pat Bryant's film.
All right. I will.
Watch what you gotta do. You gotta watch the play and then hit the rewind 5 or 10 seconds.
I thought you were meant to.
Put it fast
I thought you meant to hit it in 2 times speed. Yeah.
that would help too. But no, go back, watch him from the start of his route.
Okay.
Watch him getting off the press. Watch his release. Watch him getting off press coverage. Watch his route running knowledge and how he manipulates these corners and uses timing and suddenness to get.
Should we
open.
only watch him against the worst corners in college
Hey,
and disregard the best competition
that would
he
probably-
played?
that would definitely help,
All right.
yes.
Yeah. All right.
But no, I really love what he does here. And then
yeah.
No, I like him as a route
like-
runner. I put him
Yeah.
as a clean route runner. He's not fast, but he executes his cuts and turns well before the catch. With his lack of speed, I just don't think he can consistently gain good separation. He is a very good, like, I'm going to make a pocket for you quarterback because I'm probably going to get a step on this guy, but anything more than a step is probably just not going to happen.
Yeah, I like his style and size.
I liked Illinois had at receiver because I was kind of high on Zachary Franklin too. I had him at 23, which is higher than consensus. I know that's like not super high, but pretty high. I mean, out of the 41 wide receivers we ranked, to have him 23, that's like middle of the pack. But I did like the things that I saw from Pat Bryant. I just couldn't could not get him any higher.
Now, I'm putting a lot of faith in Pat Bryant here, making him my guy. Because,
Yeah, number 7 too.
Yeah, I know, because he needs to be given a chance in the NFL. But I'm scared that's not going to happen. People are going to be scared of this lack of athleticism. But now I'm going to move on to
Oh, wait, let me see where he's ranked right now. Total. Sorry, I keep cutting you off. Pat
That's all
Bryant
right.
right now is ranked overall number 161, projected to be a 6th rounder.
Hey, we can make that work. Just
Yeah.
give the guy a chance.
Yeah.
Then the second guy I want to mention here real quick. I'm sure Kian's going to agree with me because I see he has him ranked similarly. That is Kyle Williams out of Washington State. First and foremost, if you're an analytics guy, this guy's a PFF star. 90 grade versus man coverage. 62.5% contested catch rate at 5'11", 185, I think he is. 8.4 yards after catch per reception. When targeted, 132.3 passer rating. He has quick feet, good release. He's another guy that I fell in love with because he's a smart route runner. I really love his route running. I think he changes speeds great, and he can manipulate corners great. He outruns safeties and corners. He ran a 4.440.
Pretty quick.
He has great alignment and usage versatility in an offense, and he has good ball tracking. Now, he isn't very big or strong. His routes aren't very crisp, but I think they are smart, and I think he has enough top-end speed to make it work. Going along with his weakness, he just doesn't really fight for the ball. So I do see this, but I think that put him in the right system, he'll really excel.
I think this guy could be a really good slot receiver in the NFL. He was my wide receiver 11, your wide receiver 10. I did really like what I saw from Kyle Williams. Despite I don't think he makes the most sharp or explosive cuts, he's just so smooth whenever he's running. He just cruises through gaps in the defense the whole way down the field. Just very good vision to find and hit open lanes easily without losing any speed. That 4.40 speed is real. But yeah, I feel like he could be a very good slot receiver in the NFL.
Yeah. I don't really have anything else to say about him.
One other guy that I do want to shout out, there's like a lot of guys. I know I said this wide receiver class I felt like was bad, but I felt like there were a lot of guys who were underappreciated in my opinion. Like I was kind of, I had Keandre Lambert Smith at number 15. I had him above guys like Trey Harris, probably gonna look like a dumbass for that one. But I was a big fan of Keandre Lambert Smith. I think that Kobe Hudson is one of the better contested catch receivers in this class. He made some stupid catches.
Yeah.
Crazy. Like I said, I mentioned Elijah Badger earlier. Zachary Franklin, Theo Weiss Jr. I feel like is a solid separator, and just kind of slept on because he was always under Luther Burden III. But all in all, I really liked the depth of the class that I feel like is just underappreciated. But as far as like the guys at the top, it just doesn't feel as
Dominant.
yeah.
almost,
There aren't as many elites coming out of this class.
True. I agree. I'll wrap it up with one guy that has been mentioned a couple times here that you guys don't like as much as me, but I like Trey Harris. He's like my 8. And I just couldn't get over his size and speed combo. And he's just a smooth, long striding runner. And he's able to run past the coverage with that style. And he can also change his speed pretty well, in my opinion. And he's got decent yak ability. He's always going to be able to gain at least a few more yards. Is he the best? No. But he can gain at least a few more yards. And he's got pretty good body adjustment in the air. And he's able to elevate and extend for jump balls or off-target throws. And he's got good focus to make those catches. A pro-con, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I'm curious to hear what you guys don't like about him as much, but this is a pro-con for me. But he really only seems to excel in either short yardage or down the field. It's one or the other. It's hot or cold, and there's no second level production really. And he doesn't have the most direct or sharp routes, and he's got some injury history that I don't really like either. But just all those pros, his size, speed, strength, yak ability, like running style, that I had to put him up where I have him at number 8, at least in the class.
Yeah, I do think he ran a lot of hitches, and but this guy's another guy that's a PFF star, and this is like star on PFF. 95 grade versus man coverage.
Sheesh.
90 grade overall receiving, and the thing that's undeniable is he had 3 years in college with very solid production. Freshman year up through sophomore and junior year, receiving yards 925, 986, 1,030, touchdowns 10.87. He's done it for a long time now. Dominated since he was a freshman. That's a huge green flag. But I just think that his PFF and stat sheet is way more exciting than his film is, and as great as his stats are, I just couldn't get behind his film because I like guys that can separate, and I think he may struggle with that at times.
Yeah, whenever he gained separation at Ole Miss, the thing that really dragged him down for me was that I think that he relies on his speed and strength to win a lot, neither of which I think are above average for the NFL. It honestly looks like that he is just kind of relying on that speed and strength and doesn't really have much lateral ability to get open. There's no doubt that he was very impressive in college, and who knows, maybe it does transfer over, but I'm scared and skeptical that it might not.
Sure. All right. Anyone else? Not wrap it up.
I don't think so.
I'm good.
That was good coverage. Good job, boys. We
Nice.
did it.
Yeah.
There is another Draft Brothers episode. That was our consensus top 10 wide receiver rankings. We appreciate you guys watching, and let us know all the flack that we're probably going to get for something. Probably Kean, but
Sorry.
yeah.
I love it.
Easy to argue with. That's me.
Yeah, exactly. You just like to open up the conversation.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, these are always fun to do. So thank you guys for watching. We appreciate it. Catch us on some future episodes. We got more rankings to do for all the different position groups. We got mock drafts to do in the future.
Next week we have tight ends and linebackers.
Yeah. So that'll be really fun too. So catch us on those. We appreciate you guys watching, and we will see you then.